This week we're going to take a look at an artist whose work reveals so much about Victorian society, William Powell Frith. They say a picture tells 1,000 words, but some pictures concurrently show 1,000 things, such as the incredibly detailed and keenly observed images created by William Powell Frith. You could spend endless time looking at the intricacies of a Frith painting and still miss some interesting details. His group paintings, such as Derby Day and Ramsgate Sands, are filled with the characters, styles and vibes of the time, and we will be analysing one of these epic paintings in more depth later on. Let's consider some details about this artist's life. William Powell Frith was born on the 9th of January 1819 and lived until the 2nd of November 1909. He studied at the Royal Academy of Art and began his career painting genre scenes, portraits and artworks that were based on literary fiction. But the style he is most renowned for today is his detailed panoramic group pictures. William Powell Frith was drawn to lively and busy social gatherings. Perhaps this reflected his personal life, which was filled with people. He was married to Isabel Frith, and they had 12 children. However, Frith also had a mistress, Mary Alford, and they had 7 children together. So he was splitting his time between 2 households, 2 partners, and 19 children. William Powell Frith rather unwisely had his second family living just around the corner from his first. His wife Isabel first became aware of the deception when she saw him in the neighbourhood when he was supposed to be away in Brighton. From a window she observed him posting a letter. A few days later a letter arrived for her from her husband, filled with details about his current stay in Brighton. I'm sure he had quite a bit of explaining to do after that one. We are now going to explore an artwork by Frith that is filled with narrative drama and interesting details that tell us so much about the era that he was painting in. It was the first of his great panoramic crowd scenes and his first major success, and the backdrop for this image was in Kent. Ramsgate Sands, which was also known as Life at the Seaside, is a great work of art and a wonderful time capsule of a particular moment during the Victorian era. In an edition of the Art Journal in 1854, the publication recognised this element of the picture, when they stated that the artwork would become valuable as a memento of the habits and manners of the English at the seaside in the middle of the 19th century. Their prediction was right, and we are still drawn to this artwork for its craftsmanship and composition, but also for the information that it tells us about this period. The seaside had become a popular destination during this era due to an increase in leisure time and the means to travel to the coast. The railway was expanding, and in 1846 the South East Railway line allowed people to travel from London to the seaside town. Ramsgate soon became the place to be and the place to be seen. Frith loved places that allowed lots of people to congregate together, and the seaside certainly provided that for him. The coast became a place where people could mix, regardless of class, age or gender, as the usual social restraints and barriers were relaxed. Frith took a holiday to Ramsgate in 1853, and he was so inspired by the location and his fellow holidaymakers that he set about creating this painting. So let's start exploring some of the details within it. According to the Royal Collection, the painting was intended to be read, the viewer's eye being drawn across the painting to various different interlocking episodes and characters. So let's delve into this narrative. To set the scene, Frith has been true to the actual location. He hasn't used a generic backdrop to the group portrait, but instead shows the buildings and the landmarks that were there at the time, many of which are still recognisable today, including Albion House, the tall building in the background of this painting, which Queen Victoria used to stay at, and this obelisk, which was unveiled by Lord Liverpool on the 19th of July 1823. It gained the nickname the Royal Toothpick and stands 52 feet high. The painting is taken from the sea, looking outwards, which allows us to see the architecture of the town. This means that the artist's position for capturing the image would have been with his feet in the seawater, looking back towards the sandy shore. The healing power of the sea was being explored during this period, and consequently paddling in the sea was a popular pastime, as was bathing. In terms of paddling, we can see here that a child is being carefully lowered into the edge of the water. Her expression looks outwards. This child is widely believed to be one of Frith's own daughters, and therefore she is looking directly at her father. And here we can see the bathing machines that were designed to allow people to change out of their more formal dress into something more suitable for a swim, and to enter the sea whilst protecting their modesty. Bathing machines would be wheeled into the water. Most often horses were used for the job of transporting the swimmers to the sea, although some of the bathing machines were manoeuvred by human strength alone. Although men and women could mingle freely on the shore, when it came to bathing in the sea, men and women were usually segregated to ensure that their racy bathing suits were not seen. After bathing in the sea, you would wave a flag which was attached to the bathing machine, and this would let the driver know that you wanted to return to the shore again. Accidents could happen, however, as Punch illustrator John Leech displays in the picture Valuable Hint. The text running along the bottom says, "Always bolt the door of the machine after bathing, or you may be served as poor Mr. Briggs was one day. His disaster is presented above." Note the flag that he is still clutching when the accident occurs. One aspect that might jump out at us is the rather bizarre seaside fashion. I mean, we're all just so much more stylish nowadays, aren't we? It seems strange to our contemporary eyes to see people so dressed up on the beach. The clothes look warm and heavy, and you imagine that everyone must have been extremely hot during their time at the seaside. The men wear three-piece suits, and the ladies are in layered dresses, complete with crinoline. These were the fashionable styles of the day, and these trends didn't just alter because the people were in a different setting. Also, there was the matter of Victorian morality, so on dry land, people were still expected to be covered up at all times for matters of decency. However, these rules didn't apply to bathing in the sea. As previously mentioned, the bathing machines allowed for a change of dress to something more suitable for the sea. Most men would have worn bathing suits, but some men did bathe in the nude, and women wore the new fashion for what was at the time rather daring swimsuits. The increase in bathing also saw a similar boom in the sale of telescopes during this period. What a strange coincidence. Within this picture, there are elements of seaside entertainment. These include a rather bizarre travelling show which features a rabbit playing a tambourine, and some more familiar pastimes that have endured, such as donkey rides, building sandcastles, and Punch and Judy shows. Amongst all the excitement in the picture, we can also see gentlemen quietly reading their newspapers, and ladies seeking some shade under their parasols. And William Powell Frith has managed to include a self-portrait into the busy seaside scene. If we look here in the right-hand corner, we can just about see him peeping over the shoulders of those in front. This picture was first displayed at the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition in 1854. It was extremely popular with the public, who crowded into the Academy to see the painting and to observe those intricate details up close. Queen Victoria was a huge admirer of this image and wanted to own the painting, but it had at that point already been sold to the Lloyd brothers for £1,000. Not wanting to upset Her Royal Highness, eventually an amicable agreement was made, by which Queen Victoria bought the artwork from the Lloyd brothers for the same price that they had paid, on the condition that they would retain the rights to reproduce the picture. The artwork is still in the Royal Collection to this day. Following the success of Ramsgate Sands, William Powell Frith would go on to create other highly detailed, iconic images that continue to enthrall and fascinate viewers to this day. Goodbye.